The apocalypse has come to the planet Flagwall 7. They descend from the sky in legion and seek to overrun the world, for they and they alone. A plague of dawdling urban mechs. Now a single band of mech warriors must try to escape to the last free spaceport.
Welcome to the Urbiepocalypse, Urban Boogaloo. This is a follow-up to an older video I've made with a much more simple camera arrangement. To be fair, I decided to revisit this and give it a good proper go. We're going to go with a scenario that befits an apocalypse. A band of mech warriors must escape the rampaging hordes. The players do have a very specific objective to escape. They'll have to escape off the highway in the direction of the last free spaceport. And I don't really have a limit on what kind of mech that the players can bring. No one opted to bring an urban mech. But yeah, as long as it wasn't a custom mech, they could bring any refit or variant or age of the mech they wanted to. After all, this is a meme battle. It's just not taking place in canon whatsoever. It's completely a meme, and it's here just for the fun of the players. So, let me show you how this Urbiepocalypse is kinda going to go. So this is the map as the players will see it as they're marching their way from that road into the city. This is what the players are going to get. Now, of course, it's a lot of urban terrain. For those who are familiar with this map set, that urban terrain does cover and replace some of the terrain that's naturally printed on the board. I have heavy forest tokens where the heavy forest is supposed to go. But for the most part, there is one central road that goes down the center of the entire map. If you're familiar with this map set in other videos of mine, we've used this before in another video. But this is the elongated version where two of them are set back to back, so it's going to be a long road from here to there. The only objective the players have is to get to the other side. Now, here we see the actual layout from a tabletop style perspective. The urban mechs have essentially captured this side of the board for the most part, and the majority of the urban mechs will be in the city. Their natural environment. I was going to make the urban mech have a little bit of an advantage, and having a fight in the city gives these billions and billions of urban mechs plenty of chance to whoop ass on the player characters. It's not going to be all fun and games for them, though. Notice something about some of these buildings? Some of them you can't jump on top of. Some of them are way too damn high. An urban mech only has a jump rating of 2. So we can get to the top of buildings that have 2 as their height rating. There are a few buildings these guys can jump on top of. This one here. This one here. This one here. Not much else. Everything else is height 3. I believe this one is height 2 as well. Now, the urban mechs have some actual natural terrain before the players arrive. So they'll actually have a front screening company that's designed to, blunt the charge of the players. Though if the players are smart, they may actually bypass those guys. We'll see how this game turns out. The urban mechs have a lot of advantage. After all, tons of urban terrain. This is, for the size of border, this is actually pretty well packed in. Now, I do have enough space for players to reach their hand and play around, right? But there are some places where, if you want to be in that hex, you've got to make some amends. So we're going to. I have here a mech that is going to show up in the game. As you can see, he's going to barely fit through some of those locations. If he wants to be here, he can, but he's going to be overhanging a little bit. So that's not going to be too easy. There just are some places on the map where if you want to be in that hex, you got to make some amends. And we got to communicate with the rest of the players. Yeah, I want to be in this hex right here, facing this direction. Because there's a bunch of building in the way. A lot of these buildings do have the ability for a player character to jump on top of it. Now the question is, where are they? There are actual hexes down there that, yeah, see how it balances just barely? You can actually try to match the groundward hex with your mech, but there's a pretty easy chance that your mech will fall off. So we have a very, very simple thing for this. If you can fit, if you can fit in the hex area, you can occupy that hex essentially. Here's a good example here. See, the Nova has occupied that hex, and it's on top of the building too, and it's facing a specific direction. So we know exactly how that mech is set up for the purposes of being fired at and firing back at the opponent. So that's plausible. A smaller building is going to be easy because they just have one space. One could just plot themselves in the middle. Some of these buildings are big enough that they occupy internal hexes that other mechs can't occupy. In that case, just putting your mech on the very top of it and spinning the boy around the direction you want to face is more plausible. Just make sure that your front arc is aligned with the hexes on the board. So that would be legitimate. That is pointing at a corner of a hex, actually. So the mechs will be able to stand on top of the buildings as well. As far as the urban mechs are concerned, they've got a lot of place to play in no matter what. They've got a few small buildings they can stand on, but that's not their strength. They will have a hidden unit back here. The players don't know that yet. This mech has been given an active beagle probe in case anybody wants to think about doing such things. But still, the urban mechs will have hidden units back here. And so it's not just going to be walk in and engage what you can. There will be units kept on the side. They'll be deployed back amongst the terrain. And I'm not going to tell anybody where they are, but behind one of these larger buildings, you might see multiple urban mechs suddenly go active in the middle of some turn. Now, the players having come through here, you can see this is going to be the urban mech's point of view for the beginning of the combat. The players will get a bonus for marching on the road. And the urban mechs have plans for mechs that are walking out in the open like that. Not exactly like mines or something really sick like that. But for the most part, there will be ambushes and crossfire set up for those who are walking out in the open. So this is not going to be just some light little fun game. The urban mechs do have a plan to completely annihilate the players. Now, are the players badass enough to get through it? I think so. Now for a quick shot of the player character sheets. So first up we have this. This is the sheet of Wedge Choppenhack, the Axeman of Corn. He is represented, of course, by an appropriate miniature that we have painted for the occasion. And Wedge is a violent man. He has TSM. He has a hatchet. He has an Axeman that has a binary cannon and only 10 heat sinks. He runs hot, and he can survive that because he's got armored components on things he doesn't want to lose as well. He can do 26 points of damage with his hatchet. A center torso hit on a fresh urban mech at full TSM is still an instant kill with Mr. Wedge. He's a dangerous guy. We have his close friend and confidant, Socken McPunchface. He is the world's punchiest archer. This comes back to that old truth that the archer was originally designed off of the Spartan from Macross, and the Macross Spartan is actually a fist-fighting machine, which is why it has those big hands. He's represented by the most appropriate miniature here. Notice he's got little spikes on his hands. That is the truth. He has a special skill. Unlike Wedge, whose primary skill is just being a TSM-driven hatchet machine, this guy can punch 3 times a turn. He also has AES. He also has Battle Fists. So combine that all, he rolls his attack rolls on a skill rating of 1. So he's actually pretty good at punching stuff up. If that lack of TSM, he does punch with his normal strength of 7 damage per turn per punch. If that doesn't seem impressive enough, he does have retracted blades in each arm, switched out for those lasers that archers usually have. This archer mounts a bunch of lasers in the chest, so he can punch and shoot at the same time. The serious ass-kicking machine has the ability with those retracted blades to keep them retracted, and if a punch is successful, he can choose to pop the blade. It causes an immediate critical hit on the location he just punched. If that's the head, and it wasn't enough to kill through damage, it can crit the cockpit and kill the pilot without question. That's pretty nice. Other than that, he's a standard archer. Then we have this brazen man, Hugo Bollocks, a very appropriately named daredevil of a man. He flies the Yellow Hawk. And this is an interesting little machine because he's got modifications that Black Hawks can't have because they're Omni-Mechs. So I rebuilt this guy from the ground up to be a Black Hawk. that does accept those changes because he's built from the ground up to be not an Omni-Mech. Looking at Hugo here, his primary trait of ass-kicking, he does have TSM, he can punch, he's got all those lasers, though I've downsized them so he's actually got controllable heat. He's got jumping jack, which means his jumping penalty is only a +1. That applies to a lot of different things, mind you. So this guy, he's not super optimized, but he's got a few tricks that the player that uses him can decide to use when the time comes along. Other than that, there's nothing special about him. He's pretty much a standard Blackhawk, although this time with the benefit of being bright yellow and being a jump master. There is a fourth mech that's going to be used as a backup mech just in case, but I doubt she's going to run out and save their butts. After all, this mech is a piranha, and like piranhas, they have a tendency to die when urban mechs come along. These mechs are the mechs that are going to be taking on the forces of the urban mechs, and they're going to have their best attempt at doing so. Now, there is an additional player character sheet that's not owned by me because one of the players decided to make their very own custom mech. And this custom mech is a Nova Cat that mounts improved heavy lasers, as well as a lot of other optimized shooting gear. This guy is designed with canon in mind. I was saying, hey, look at these guys. We're playing in meme land, you know. We are definitely playing in meme land. But this guy and his relatively optimized mech is going to be the shooter of the match, and for that, I will give him a limited version of the multitasker ability. So he can shoot at 2 different targets without any 2-hit penalties if they're within 3 hexes of each other. So he has to shoot at 2 generally adjacent targets. Given how many urban mechs there are on the board, that's not going to be too difficult. Those are the player characters. This is the character sheet for all the urban mechs. Yes, all of them. They are one fat, happy, united force of urban mechs. So, and they're not just one organization too. We have stars of 5. We have lances of 4. We do have quasi-lances where it's like 2 are in a group and 2 individuals. We have 1 individual. He is the boss. Justinian Ortega. He is the only one with decent skill. As you'll notice, everybody else is pretty much rocking a 5-6. That's because there's 45 urban mechs here. Now, you can see there are 2 stars, the Zavio unit and the Monde unit. Then there's some other lances here. Those lances are a column. They're going to be running straight up the road at the enemy. That's one of their plans, is they're going to just pile on a shit ton of force into the face of the players and see how the players handle it. And yes, we can afford to do that with 20 urban mechs because we have 45 of them. We do have a front screening lance. These are the blue guys with the special symbols. These guys are going to be screening the very front. Their skill rating is still conscript, but they're brave dudes and they're planning on standing out in front and giving what for to the enemy. We have, of course, 2 lances that will be occupying random spots inside the city. They're pretty much there just to pop up and shoot at the enemy and then pop back. They're mostly a harassment force. This all-girl lance is actually going to be hidden. Their engines will be turned off. They'll have their fingers on the power switch. They'll be powering up during a specific turn and adding their force to the battle. Their present location is not to be known. We have a partial lance. It's composed of 2 individuals and 2 other dudes. And they're just going to be filling up. They're going to be kind of like backup for the screening lance, but they'll be going where they want to. So these guys here are the first guys that are going to have contact with the enemy, and they've decided on that. Now, there is a backup lance, this blue and red lance, as far as their symbols are concerned. These guys are going to be providing backup for the screening force. So we're going to have the screening force's backup, the screening force itself, various random ambushers, some random guys that are just filling in parts of the city, and then this gigantic column being thrown in the face of the players. Now, if the gigantic column falls apart or gets smashed or whatnot, of course, if the plan doesn't last contact with the enemy, which is usually the case, these guys will be rolling out off of the main road, wherever they need to go to make sure they can win the game. These guys are they're not specifically stuck on that task of just walking down the road. They will, but for the most part, they're going to do what they have to do to win. But they are the primary column. They'll be doing their best. Now, we have no idea how this is going to go out, so the boss, Justinian here, he is going to be where he has to be. He's going to pick his spot last. He'll be the last to deploy because he's going to be spending most of the time watching the incoming players. Whereas the rest of these guys have a plan to deal with the incoming guys. This group will be the most casual. These 8 will just be occupying spots in the city. These guys are going to be occupying the spot in the city between the players and the rest of the city, but you get the idea. They have a more focused mission. These guys kind of have a general mission, but they'll be willing to adapt to what comes their way. And these guys are just hogwash. There's a bunch of different random names on here. Most of these guys are the kind of people who, you know, they post on Reddit or 4chan, so they're mostly just a bunch of internet thugs that got a hold of some urban mechs. That's why they're all 5.6s, with the exception of a few of them. Who are not 5.6s? Okay, some of the guys in this slants actually have standard mech warrior stats. They're 4.5s. The boss, of course, is pretty much a clanner at 3.4. I'm looking. Everybody else is pretty much a conscript. Yes, everybody else is pretty much a conscript. And we kind of need to. The overall battle value of this force is like 18,000. So the players aren't going to be matching that. If we were to take full-fledged stats on all of our guys, then we'd go over 18,000 by quite a number. After all, there are 45 mechs here. So we're going to play it nice and actually, you know, run conscripts instead of running clanner stats or something stupid like that. So this is the force. And we're going to see how these guys do running in against the players. So the Urbiepocalypse is about to begin. The party of players, composed of an intrepid Novacat, the Axeman of Corn, Socket McPunchface and his amazing Archer of Punchiness, and Hugo Bollocks and the amazing Yellowhawk, no longer black, are about to face off against a lot of urban mechs. That is 45 urban mechs, and there are a lot of them, and they are doing urban mech things. Some of them are even deactivated right now. But we're about to roll out and see how this performs. To let you know, we're using the card system initiative, so that deck of cards has marked cards for each individual, but not the urban mechs. The urban mechs are going to have the primary horde go first. That's the problem with being the guys that are in mass. You are predictable. You're a huge mass that can be seen and acted upon. And then there's individual ones where the lance is treated like an individual inside the deck. So we're going to go ahead and start this one up. Here's the player's perspective here. We're going to see exactly how this beast rolls down.
Well, we just need to destroy one per turn.
Yeah.
We're behind the curve, boys.
Hey, I've effectively destroyed 2.
That's true.
Yeah.
The combat kills are combat kills. That's fair.
Let's be honest. And them losing their entire torso and their primary weapon, that's a combat kill.
That's fair.
Yeah. So what happened on the beginning of turn 1, our Novacat shooter boy took out half of the screening force by taking out their right torso. The targeting computer on board the Novacat just targeted a specific section, and he was like, well, I don't have to kill him. I just have to deprive them of their AC-10. So he did. The guy in the very front of the conga train for this nice long train of urban mechs is down thanks to some precise shooting that caused a failed piloting roll from the Yellowhawk. We have essentially seen the front of the urban mech front. The urban mech front has essentially been blunted a little bit. They have half the shooting power, and their nice big train has to get around their fallen comrade. So that's the end of turn 1. The Axeman of Corn is nice and heated up and ready to go. Mm-hmm. The punching guy, of course, rolled last initiative, so he's following up the trail. The Yellowhawk and the Novacat pulled their weight this turn. Starting the player's turn 2, interesting. First of all, our Novacat continued the practice of using his targeting computer to take out the right torso. Very smart idea. What was that, 2 more mechs?
Yep.
2 more mechs. Socket McPunchface is behind the game. That's because he started out the turn behind a Berserker. Said Berserker is now in front of the line and is 1 turn away from smacking ass all over the place. The screening force has lost its effectiveness. They've mostly had their right torsos removed, or they're getting shot at from close range. Let's describe what happened between the Nova there and this Urban Mech on the building top. You got shot in the center torso with a blast of AC-10. Yeah. How did the return fire go?
I cored him.
Disco ball.
I carved him up real good first, and then I cored him.
Yeah, enough center torso or leak to center torso hits to effectively end the first Urban Mech. So the first Urban Mech to be removed is removed. A little bit of shooting combat with more effectiveness, taking out torsos from the Nova Cat, but he actually downed a mech. Mr. Happy of the Golden Brigade has been shot down. Over here, a sprinting archer has gotten up in front. At least he's being effective where he needs to be, right? How did this Mad Dog do?
Nova.
The Nova, yeah.
Carved up another fella. He's not dead, right?
Nope.
He fell down.
He's just very, very in bad condition.
He took 40 damage this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, he fell pretty hard. There was that one guy in the line that he tried to shoot, but the partial cover saved that guy from taking
I
any
hit the legs
damage.
twice, which means I did nothing.
The Berserker got a headshot on the punch table when he swung his axe at this guy here. Axe vertically through the top of the head, killed an Urbie. So the Urban Mech chart kind of looks like this right now, where you've got 3 dead mechs and a lot of gimped mechs, actually. 6 have been effectively gimped from their shoulder cannon, and 3 have been killed outright. So that is where it's sitting right there. It has been a mess, a glorious mess. The start of it, there's been a bit of shooting back and forth between the Nova Cat and this growing line of Urban Mechs are looking to get their AC-10s on them. I believe most of those guys have gotten the right torso removal treatment, right? Yes. This turn he hadn't had a focus fire. The Hag has been like splintering all over the place, but I think only one of these guys on the rooftop has a functional weapon. That's this guy. He's the only guy with a functional weapon left. Yep. He's gotten his lost. Over here, 2 falls have resulted from the Yellow Hawk getting in there, and they failed their you take 20 damage, make a piloting check roll, and so they are down. And this guy from the far edge, I understand, is unconscious. So if he doesn't make his roll, he's down. He's down there. A miracle happened. The Cornate guy jumped. See how those guys are pointing the other way? In movement phase, they pointed that way. Corn guy decided to jump behind them and just take an axe to one of them. The boss actually backed off and missed by 1 point. Everybody else woofed their shots. Some of them shot at the Yellow Hawk. 2 of those guys shot at Sock and McPunchface over here. He did enough damage when he had to fall and make it roll, and he fell. And in the fall, he took 6 damage to the place that went to the center torso and cored himself on a fall kill. This guy has been punched to the point where he only has 2 points of internal damage in his center torso. That was a lot of punching, and that's what happened. The conga line of Urban Mechs is thinking about breaking up and doing tactical stuff in the city because, congratulations, there's the Cornate guy.
I feel sorry for a few people.
Urban Mechs, I assume?
What are you talking about? No. You got hit 3 times.
I got hit 3 times. That's right. I got hit 3 times, but I have I'm commanding Sock and McPunchface over here, and he's got more armor than anybody else, I think. Actually, no, the Nova Cat has more. This guy has.
Actually, I think you.
This guy.
I think you have more than me.
Do I have more? Double check it.
It's not me. I'm a medium.
I have exactly 1 ton more than you.
Okay.
All I can say is I've swung my axe twice and I've hit the head twice.
Yeah, you've got 2 decapitations with your axe.
Honestly, I think the plan is we're going to try to punch through on the 2 sides, but our friend Cornate try to attract as much attention as possible in a glorious defeat.
Oh boy. So you're planning on having the corn guy go down?
I'm pretty sure he's going to voluntarily take as many guys with
I'm going to try and take as many heads as I possibly can.
Hell yeah, I like the sound of that. So this is going to become a bloodbath here. Yeah. Well, and here officially, by the way, is the Urban Mech sheet. Notice how many dead guys we have now? There are some dead Urban Mechs up on there. And if you look closer, there's a lot of gimped guys. There's a bunch of guys who have lost a little bit of armor here and there. And that entire 4 detachment has taken their right torsos out. It's like they've been selectively, lobotomized of their autocannon 10s.
What nonsense! Why would I do such a thing?
Socken McPunchface is suffering here. He has been knocked down by mere failing a pilot skill roll because he took a lot of damage from 2 AC twins.
One of which to the head.
One of which was to the head, so he has a head hit on him. We have more gunnery with some kicking thrown in on this one flank, so it's same verse, you know, right here. This is the glory part. Go ahead, describe this.
I jumped behind the enemy commander. And
who jumped away in the first place.
Who jumped away in the first place. And then I very kindly bifurcated him with my hatchet.
Yeah, from shoulder to hip, cut his center torso in half. So the commander is out of the fight. So that is awesome. In the meantime, our little boy over here, the Yellow Hawk, tried to shoot and destroy the fallen urban mech who had fallen unconscious, woke back up into consciousness, and then had his mech turn cherry red by multiple shots attempting to headshot him while he was immobile. Didn't actually make the 5, 6, or 7 roll, the 6, 7, or 8 roll to get him. So, and of course there are some things happening over here that'll be taking effect next turn. But we've got...
I'm feeling sorry for myself right now.
You're technically in a good position compared to Sock and McPunchface.
Yes.
You're not falling down, and you don't have a head armor missing.
Yeah, but I'm kind of far back and off to the side. And if Sockham goes down, I'm the obvious main target next.
Yes, you get swarmed. You are so going to get swarmed if he goes down. This guy, that melee master over there, is what's keeping you afloat. That bad piloting skill roll on his behalf is literally...
That hurt.
That's the worst thing that happened to him. The headshot was actually pretty nasty, but those, if you ask me, actually happened rare enough that... I mean, how many headshots have we had this turn, this game? They're all from axe. They're all from axe hits
4.
on a punch table, right?
5. 2 punches. He hit the guy in the head once. I hit a guy in the head once. And then you hit it. And then you got hit in the head once.
I got hit in the head,
yeah.
And then there's 2 axe hits.
So total 5, because I hit somebody else in the head with a cluster, and he hit one with a laser.
Yeah, small laser.
This...
The only thing I hit with. Out of 8 shots.
Tell me about it.
Always looking forward to taking my next head.
It is gloriously bloody. We have a fallen urban mech there. These guys have actually gotten pretty much almost to the objective. Whereas blue team over here, by the way, we're calculating abstract hexes off here because you can do that. And the brave Sock and McPunchface has had to run from that horde. He just has too much damage, and they're coming for him. They can point blank with those AC-10s. Who wants to tell their tale first? Because there's some tales to tell over here.
So, with enemy commander in hand...
That's right. You cut the torso and head off last turn, right?
And I'm dragging him in my free arm.
Okay.
As I ran through the battlefield straight for him, cut him in half, and then I'm now beelining to the end of the road with him locked away safely in his cockpit.
Somehow the Cornate assassin is working. Assassination is working.
It's totally working. I missed the urban mech right in front of me with my 2 ranged attacks. But like a true champ, my axe cleaved right through the left torso of the other urban, golden-ish looking urban mech on my right side there. And, cut all the way through the left torso and took all the armor off the center torso.
Yeah. And of course we had a little bit of a gun duel between the Yellow Hawk and the other mech, which fell from pilot damage, right?
Yeah, much lasers.
Yeah.
knocked the pilot unconscious. That's the second one this
game. Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, he's not happy. He may get a called shot to the head on the way out.
That'll make it 3 turns to get out, because you got to jump in a way that you can actually see his head. Because there's a hill in the way.
Oh, yeah.
There's a hill in the way over here, yeah.
I might do it anyway.
So that's the actual map layout to see how you can escape and still get that shot. Yeah, meanwhile, over here, Mr. McPunchface has to frickin' run because his head armor's gone, and what do you know? He's being swarmed by all those freaking urban mechs. This guy has the other corner pretty much down, so it's which one do you want to chase? The guy who can shoot you to pieces, or the guy who can't?
I'm trying to get around the outskirts, and I'm going to try to beeline the crap out of there.
I'm trying to run off the board with their commander.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm thinking I'm not going to aim for the objective. I'll meet you down the road.
Yeah. You do have to succeed. You have to get to that objective.
No, he has to get to that objective. I just got to keep going in a straight line.
The battle has dragged on in the most interesting of ways. We have the Cornate Assassin and the Yellow Hawk converging with the Nova Cat. The city belongs to the Urban Mechs. We can see that. They've been quite distracted by this direction, and what do you know? Flank maneuvers happen. So they are slow, and they're back here. The party is mostly fast, and is back here. Go ahead and describe your combat fun over here. Just go ahead.
Just mainly I moved around the flank, got a couple back shots in, and decapitated one mech and crippled 2 others.
Yeah.
I took aim shots at the unconscious pilot and killed him.
Yeah, that pilot there got killed by unconscious shots. Headshot by natural rolls, right?
Yep.
How about the Cornate Assassin here?
I fired a medium laser, and it went through the left side that was already destroyed, right into the center torso.
2 gyro
And
hits.
critted both gyros and knocked it out.
Oh yeah. So that puts an end, pretty much. They've been combat ineffective. That golden platoon, the girls that were supposed to pop out with their inactivated mechs, they ended up being a bullet magnet because they looked special. You know what happens when you look special on the battlefield? You get singled out. There's a small pile of mechs heading after Sock and McPunchface, who jumped into heavy woods. Unlike common myth, you do not take a pilot check for jumping into a woods hex. He is in heavy cover right now, but he has a lot to go through. We're going to see how this turns out. I don't know if we can deploy the rescue mech at this point. The rescue mech has a lot of shit to deal with, and even though they're fast enough to pretty much avoid being hit easily. God, man, I mean...
What are they supposed to be rescuing?
The archer.
Technically, yes, that'd be correct. They'd be rescuing the archer. So, poor McPunchface is back there, not punching people. Then again, that's what happens when he's missing a bunch of armor, and he's not happy about having no head. He's like walking... He's pretty much an exposed cockpit right now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, is looking really nasty. We'll see if Punchface can get out alive. These guys kind of have it made.
Just want to mention I'm Cornite, and I'm going to make it out on turn 8.
Oh, good point.
A Cornate guy is making it out of the field on turn 8.
After beheading 2 mechs and taking off with their commander.
Oh, man. Yeah.
With 3 melee kills.
Let me show you what the Urban Mech board looks like. This is what the Urban Mech board looks like right now. There are so many. There are 2 gyro kills on that. One over there, which we didn't use full marker for. Use the full marker for that one. So there's 2 gyro kills. So overall, yeah, there's plenty of Urban Mechs still standing and walking around, but you'd be amazed how many of them are missing an autocannon. And then, of course, they lost, of all things, their commander and 2 other guys with headshots. So this has been...
got cleaved in half.
Yeah, the commander got cleaved in half, and 2 other guys lost at the headshots. So yeah, there's also plenty of damage scattered around. Like, one lance right there, it took no damage. That was a typo. That's a typo right there. Everything else... Yeah, there's some splattering. Every last unit has seen some kind... Oh yeah, this guy, he got back into consciousness, and he had a chance of trying to get his mech up after all the shit that was happening to it with what? Being shot by lasers every turn, and the guy didn't hit his head. He just bailed out. He popped his hatch and ran off. Well, fun, interesting stuff has happened this turn. NovaCat, talk about your exploits. You've done some cool stuff.
Rear shot into this guy, ammo killed.
So this guy's dead by ammo explosion of all things.
And cored out this guy right torso and then center torso.
Literally, just center torso the fucker. So yeah, very, very dead Urbies, twice in 1 turn. This is what happens when you get multitasker. You can do amazingly interesting shit. Over here in the dog and corny assassin corner.
I got out with the objective, the commander screaming.
Yeah.
So you have the commander in hand, essentially.
Yep. Being taken care of.
The Urbies are reacting to the situation very much, and they're swarming in on my position. I jumped, and through miracle, I only got hit once with an autocannon 10. I did close range land with this one guy here. See him? He backed the hell off, though, because if he stayed there, that would have been 3 punches to that guy's face. He didn't want to stay there, so he moved. He jumped out of the way. Behind the trees, behind the partial cover. Yeah, he got out of the way. I jumped there from behind the heavy trees because it was the only safe spot. They moved in to gather around me. And then, congratulations, I have an entire building at the back. So, their shots mostly missed. And that one guy only had a small laser anyway, so he was shooting at medium range. It was actually kind of hilarious. I'm alive, says Sokka McPunchface, and I shall punch another day. But man, does he have some space to cover?
He's got probably
long way to
4
go.
turns before he can get out.
I'm so glad there's not an Atlas on this map. He'd be back here and dead. Because an Urbie would have gotten behind him and shot him in the rear armor, and that would have killed the Atlas. That's how this game works. Your rear armor is your actual armor. So don't play slow-moving mechs.
5 turns at best to get Sokka off.
Yeah. So
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And that's 5 turns of him being the primary dedicated target, because I don't know. I could stick around for it,
So here's the real question.
but I'd be hitting him for. I'd be holding at medium to long range.
Do you feel like pulling a Delta Force sniper maneuver against all these urban mech Somalians that will be coming your way shortly?
That's really where it comes down to. I could start picking them off one by one, but
This guy's in Shitville, and his only way out is shitty too. You're also the man when it comes to ranged combat. Let's be honest. You've been killing mechs pretty effectively. Your tactic of aiming for the right torso and then being extremely lucky with the 6, 7s, or 8 rolls have gotten... Look at the urban mech kill streak now. There's so many dead guys on it, and there's guys that have been mission killed you can't really see. The one full gyro kill still over there.
What, 7 mission kills?
Yeah.
That I did.
Lots and lots and lots of wounds and stuff on here. So it's bloody. Very bloody. So we're going to see where this goes, but for the most part...
Thinking from a mercenary point of view,
yeah.
this is actually a victory. Not only did we achieve the objective,
You took the enemy commander.
we took the enemy commander, and
We
3 of the
split
4...
contract 3 ways.
3 of the 4 of us made it out, and we've probably crippled, what, 8, mission killed 8 and killed another 6, 8 more?
Oh, you killed more than 6 now. Remember, gyro kills count too. There are 12 actual dead Urbies now.
12 dead with 8, probably 8 more that were mission killed, so
Oh,
20.
yeah.
We've destroyed half of this force, so even with monetarily, we've come out ahead.
Okay.
Even if Sokka doesn't make it.
And he might make it.
And Sokka probably will take at least one or 2 more with him if he doesn't make it.
Yeah.
The end of this turn has been really interesting. The Sokka is crouching on top of that level 3 building. The Novacat is doing Novacat things over here. The dog has left the table.
Fuck.
The Yellow Hawk has left the table. He has a dog initiative card we've been using for him, but still. The emergency mech has not been called upon. But here's what's happening. The Novacat has his angle out, and Sokka has an angle out by jumping into those heavy trees for some cover. And then he has he can move faster than the Urban Mechs can. Plus, the Urban Mech range isn't amazing, so they're going to get worse the farther away he gets. There are these guys right now. Guess who's got them occupied? So, Master Novacat, go to town explaining this shit over here.
I water killed him by stripping all the armor on his center torso while he was in the water,
Yes.
which shut down his fusion engine. Then I, again, mission killed him by taking this guy's right torso off, which
Took the autocannon.
took the autocannon and hurt the center. So what would happen is next turn I'd either jump or walk over here. Mm-hmm. So that would be a difficult turn for me to actually take a shot.
Yeah.
It would be, I'd need 7s instead of... No, I need 7s instead of 4.
You would have better heat, and there would only be 4 mechs who could try to harass you at that point. But you have the armor,
these 2,
too.
3, 4. I've taken exactly 4 hits, 2 of which are small lasers.
So you can afford to tank these 4 boys.
Yeah, I could tank those 4 boys long enough to get you out.
And backing into the objective hex the entire time.
Mm-hmm. So let's be honest. 3 turns, I could probably mission kill all 4 of those Urbies.
Yes.
In theory.
And a lot of these Urbies up there, like this one, she's lost a jump jet, so she can't safely go down. Plus, she's lost her autocannon. She's up there guarding the building with a small laser. Someone exploded by ammo. He also is in the same position where he's lost his autocannon. And jumping down, well, what's he going to do? Jump down and join the fight with a kick? the nearest combatant will shoot him to pieces before he gets there, right? Yeah. So there are some of these guys that are on the buildings where it's like, we're just guarding the building, man, otherwise we die, right? It's a tough spot for the Urbies, and we're not playing the Urbies stupid. The Urbies are making smart decisions. Can I get a confirmation on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The Urbies have been playing as smart as they possibly can.
The only thing that probably would have made this scarier, different variants of Urbies. If we had multiple variants.
They're all base stock Urbies as far as that's concerned. So there is an end in sight for the game where the entire Survivor company gets off the board without calling any kind of reinforcement to drag them off. So, although poor Sockham has to literally run from a pile of Urbies. I mean, look at these guys. Pile of Urbies. So...
Hey, 3 of those are critically damaged.
So this is the Urbie board at the end of the game. As you can see, we have, through either water, ammo explosions, blowing out the gyro, whatever, we have killed, made the mech inoperable fully, 13 of them. 11 of them have lost their primary combat component and are essentially non-effective at combat. We also had one of those guys that we were counting as like a +1 down there who was literally unconscious at the end of the game. Couldn't get his consciousness back. 6 additional mechs were damaged. So total casualties for the Urban Mech side is sitting at a pretty solid 31 out of 45. We rocked some ass, and the Urban Mechs kind of just suffered at it. This is why also you send a squad to do a squad's job instead of sending in one super mech that's over-designed. Germans, listen to that one. The actual kill lost is 13. Most of which, I mean, what do we get? We got a water shutdown, 2 full gyro kills, an ammo explosion, 2 axe headshots, an axe bifurcation. The rest was literally cored through the center torso for the most part, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, there was one pilot kill from an aim shot.
Oh, yeah, one was an aim shot pilot kill.
Which one was that again?
That was... I think it was this gold guy right here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was
Smiley face.
Yeah, Mr. Happy got head cored out, essentially. We got lucky on getting aimed shots to the right torso. Over, what, 9 turns?
9 turns.
We got it done.
Man.
Some of that happened by accident. There was a few accidental right torso kills.
Yeah. Like, literally, we aiming at the right torso.
Yeah.
Then hit the right
I think this guy.
Yeah.
No, it was this one. This one had an accidental right torso kill. Oh, yeah.
One rear shot kill.
This guy got killed in a fall because the fall damage hit him in a location enough that it, cored the center torso. He's done. Yeah, he got killed.
Yeah, he killed himself
in a fall. So the Urban Mechs, they kind of are suffering at this one. If they're saying the damage can be repaired, they're still down 11 autocannons, and they have a potentially brain damaged pilot. Lost 13 for sure out of 45 Urban Mechs. And also, out of 45 Urban Mechs, I got news for you. Out of 45 Urban Mechs, 24 of those are inoperable. So half the force has been rendered unusable in future missions that are happening right now. They'll have a week or so in furlough to try to repair that damage back.
For like months.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to order. The enemy has to order more autocannon 10s, and those have to get here by shipping if they aren't already in a storage compartment somewhere. And if this is some podunk Banana Republic or some kind of dictatorship where they have centralized supply lines, deep periphery or something, yeah.
4 to 6 months down the road, man.
Those autocannon 10s and the replacement ammunition is going to take a little bit to arrive.
Local warlord's whole stock of Battletechs.
So those 4.
Actually, it wouldn't be that bad with stock.
That's true.
Yeah. So those 4 boys cut into this local force and dealt them a blow. Compared to the last Urbiepocalypse, we did good. We did real good. We had hope at the end of that battle in spades. We had bundles of hope carried around in baskets and backpacks.
I actually would like to do this again, but I think, in all honesty, the boss should probably be in something like a Hunchback.
Something better, yeah.
Yeah, something better than...
Or something Urbie-like a Flashman.
Or Flashman, or an Imp. Mm-hmm. Imp would be awesome to see.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be fitting. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other thing, too, is different variants. Would happen a lot.
Better variants. It'd be harder for some podunk in the middle of nowhere to supply it, but let's be honest, how many people get their hands on 45 of the same exact type of mech?
Yeah, that's true. This is here mostly for the
We're
meme.
not a major house here.
Yeah, I haven't explained this before, this battle did take place in a Battletech meme, essentially. So this is not like canon. This is a Battletech meme battle.
Thank you for enjoying us.
It was fun.
Yeah. So if you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching, and hopefully in the future you will learn to outrun and outgun urban mechs, because that's how you defeat them.
Massive artillery.
Or artillery.
Massive artillery could do too. Yeah.
Let's be honest. One catapult with an Arrow 4 launcher would have helped a ton.
Well, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you have a great rest of your week.
Da-dum-dum-dum-dum.